Any Number was the very first game on the very first episode of The Price is Right. Although it wasn't labeled right away, it has since become one of the most popular games in the history of the legendary show. This is the beginning of what could be a fantastic journey as I set to review all Price is Right pricing games from the daytime US version of the show. So let's get this ball rolling. Here we go with 5 fun facts about Any Number. Number 5. The Real Life Piggy Bank. In the earliest playings of the game, a contestant was actually presented by Anitra with a real piggy bank to tangibly describe what they would win if they won the consolation prize. This could very easily be chalked up to one of my favorite TV tropes, early installment weirdness. This prop, however, was quickly eliminated as it did not enhance the overall enjoyment of the game. Number 4. The first game was played for a Chevrolet Vega. The Vega was produced by General Motors with models dated from 1971 to 1977. In its first year, Motor Trend named the Chevrolet Vega its car of the year. However, the car quickly lost popularity due to its numerous recalls and noted safety issues, having 3 recalls issued within 3 months in 1972, the same year as the debut of the new Price is Right. The initial launch of the almost forgotten subcompact car was overseen by then GM Vice President John Z. DeLorean shortly before starting his own motor company. Number 3. One version of the game is in a museum. The 1986 version of the game board is part of the National Archives of Game Show History, part of the Strong National Museum of Play. This museum has a growing collection of Price is Right props with magic numbers set to be displayed very soon. Number 2. It was played perfectly only 12 times. As of the date of recording this video, Any Number has been played perfectly 12 times, with the most recent one occurring in 2018. If a contestant makes 4 accurate guesses, they win the car with no stress and no drama, never even meddling with the piggy bank or the mid-tier prize. Perfect games are exceedingly rare at a 0.007%, thus quite spectacular. And the number 1 fun fact about Any Number, it was Bob's first and last game as official host. Any Number already had the distinction of being the very first game ever played on The Price is Right, giving away the aforementioned Chevy Vega for $2,746. Fittingly enough, it was also the last game played on Bob's final episode as official host on June 15, 2007. This game was played for a Ford Explorer worth $26,850, but was lost. Although it is unfortunate that Bob's very last game as official host was a loss, it is worth noting that this was not Bob's final game, as on April 1st, 2015, he returned to host the game Lucky 7, where the very lucky contestant won her game and a brand new car. The second game in Price is Right history, Bonus Game is a quick mid-show game with a nice grand prize, 4 small prizes, and simple gameplay. It's quick, it's fun, and a contestant can win big with great chances. Here we go with 5 fun facts about Bonus Game. Number 5. The first bonus prizes. On the first playing of Bonus Game, in addition to a color TV, a washer and dryer from Speed Queen was given away. Although not necessarily a household name in home appliances, Speed Queen has been in existence since 1908 and is much more known for their commercial products you would find in laundromats. A color TV from the Spiegel catalog was also given away. Spiegel was founded in 1865 by Joseph Spiegel, and although filed for bankruptcy in 2003, maintained a presence until their website shut down in February of 2020 with the state of the business in question. While neither of these stats have much to do with the game, I think it's fun to see the history of the prizes and where these companies stand today. Number 4. Set modernizations. The Bonus Game underwent several color changes to coincide with color and design modernization as trends and set pieces altered over the many years of the show. In 2013, the game's older style light against transparency was replaced by an HD monitor system just to keep up with the times. Number 3. It was briefly retired twice. The Bonus Game saw an off-again, on-again relationship of sorts in its early days. On the daytime version, the Bonus Game was replaced by the Shell game in 1974, but still played on the nighttime version. Bonus Game returned in 1975 on the daytime version, but then it disappeared again for 2 months before coming back permanently. Again, the nighttime version was unaffected. Number 2. Appearances on other shows. In 1999, Bob appeared on the once extremely popular Rosie O'Donnell show playing the bonus game for a patio set, which the contestant flat out said she didn't want because she didn't have room for it in her New York apartment. Oddly enough, the patio was shown off by a male model, a harbinger of James O'Halloran's to come. And the number 1 fun fact about Bonus Game, a contestant played Bonus Game perfectly, twice. On the first day of the show, Paul Levine played the game perfectly to win the aforementioned washer and dryer and television. For the show's 40th anniversary, Paul came back playing for a 1972 Chevy Monte Carlo worth $16,995. And guess what? He played it perfectly again. How cool is that? Well, at least I'm getting the simplest Price is Right pricing game out of the way as early as possible. This is going to be one of the tougher lists to put together just due to the bare-bones nature of the game. In double prices, a contestant is given 2 prices. One is right, one is wrong, and the contestant must choose the correct price. That's it. This is going to be a tough one, but here we go anyway. Here are 5 fun facts about double prices. Number 5, along with several others, is the most winnable game. Due to the right or wrong nature of the game, a contestant has a no questions asked 50-50 chance of winning double prices every time. This very well could be why the game was played for a $30,000 car on Bob's final episode in 2007, just to give the viewers and one lucky contestant something very special to go out on. Number 4, the Time Saver. Because the game can be played so fast, it is generally used on episodes when much longer games are taking place as a means to save time. Get it on, get it off, move on. That's double prices for you. Number 3, Drew's Error. In 2008, double prices was played for a television. Drew accidentally removed the price that the contestant did not select off the board, which led the contestant to errantly win the prize. Before the showcase showdown, Drew addressed the error, took full blame for it, and rightfully gave the contestant the prize anyway. Number 2, it's been redesigned 5 times. The game has received multiple facelifts, with its best and most important redesign happening in 1987. In this redesign, the correct price was placed between the 2 displayed prices, thus leaving no gap if the contestant picks the top price tag. Not bad for a game that is literally just 2 price tags on a podium. Also, I promise you, I'm almost done. The number 1 fun fact about double prices, the name was ambiguous for 15 years. Although technically the game was always referred to as double prices, the name of the game wasn't labeled on any of its podiums until the major overhaul in 1987, 15 years after its debut. Although none of the games in the very first episode were labeled, they all were within a few years, except for Double Prices, which took 15 years to show off its name. Grocery Game is one of my favorite games on The Price is Right. It has a fun, relatable theme, has dynamic gameplay, and is fairly challenging, considering that the contestant really needs to know the actual retail prices of various grocery items in order to win, and can't rely on guesswork. Still played regularly to this day, here we go with 5 fun facts about Grocery Game. Number 5, the odds to win have improved. Grocery Game is a tough game, easily the toughest up to this point. Even with an excellent knowledge of grocery products, the contestant must still be able to use basic math in a high-stress situation. Until 1989, the game had a 25-cent margin of victory, which was then expanded to a $1 margin of victory, in which the contestant would have to land between $20 and $21 to win. In 2016, that margin of victory was improved to $2, with $20 to $22 being the target region. Sure, it makes the game easier to win, but is it fair to all contestants playing the game prior to 2016? That's debatable. Number 4, errors and malfunctions were common. There have been several times over the years when technical problems or human error caused discrepancies in gameplay. Either the register would display all zeros, or get stuck and display the wrong price, or human error mispunches would occur which would cause the numbers to go crazy. Hell, even in 1991 the game was mislabeled as the Shell game. Oops. Either way, common problems like this were usually a death wish for certain games, but yet Grocery Game has seemed to have worked all the issues out and is still going strong today. Number 3. At one point, all contestants were winners. How weird was this rule? In the early installment weirdness of Grocery Game, all contestants won supplies of the groceries they played with no matter if they won or lost. This only lasted for 4 playings of the game before the rule was quickly forgotten about. Of course, this isn't the only major rule change from the early days. Number 2. There was once a $100 bonus. In the first week of playing Grocery Game, contestants were offered a bonus of $100 for if they won the game or if they used all 5 grocery items without going over the $7 target price. This was stopped after the first week, which was smart because the bonus added very little to the game and pretty much guaranteed that the contestant would leave with money if they decided to play ultra conservatively and pick just one of everything. And the number 1 fun fact about Grocery Game: Janice was the traditional checker for 28 years. The Grocery Game was synonymous with Janice Pennington, as she was the regular cashier from 1972 until she was very quietly and quickly dismissed in 2000. Although there has been a regular rotation of cashiers since, this game belonged to Janice. I believe her style and grace led to the game being so popular and fun since the very beginning, and what kept it going through thick and thin. Bullseye 1 was the first failed attempt at a pricing game, having been retired a mere week after its premiere in 1972. Obviously, with the game's short shelf life, finding enough facts to create my own spin on this video was almost impossible. However, there are a few noteworthy points that separate this retired game from many others. With a video that will last almost as long as the entire run of the game itself, here are 5 fun facts about Bullseye 1. Number 5. It was the first retired pricing game. Well, kind of. The game was technically retooled into Double Bullseye, which could have potentially been an even sillier version of this game. The basic idea of guessing a price higher or lower would later be used as the basis for Clock Game, using a 30-second timer to allow as many guesses within the allotted time, as opposed to a finite number of guesses. Number 4. The name was later recycled. Bullseye 1 got its name from the bullseye on the set piece, but was never labeled as such, making the name simply for organizational purposes. After this game was retired, the name Bullseye was later used officially for a much more successful, fun game which still lives on to this day. Number 3. A price range was added. In the first 2 playings, the contestant was given 7 chances to guess the price of the car completely out of the blue. 7 chances. That's it. Unless you passionately sold cars for a living and had psychic abilities, you weren't winning this game. In the third playing until the end, a contestant was given a $500 range. It made the game slightly easier, but still not enough to make it remotely winnable. Number 2. There was a set change. Even though this game was only played 5 times, there was still one set change. This was a mere slight color adjustment, so the number of guesses a contestant had was easier to read on air. And the number 1 fun fact about Bullseye 1, this game was never won. Bullseye 1 never had a single win. With an 0-5 record, this game was just too difficult to win in this incarnation. Even with its rule changes, the game was simply too difficult. The Price is Right probably didn't really want us to remember this failed experiment, but they never would have guessed fans like myself would go out of our way to find the evidence well in the future. One of my personal favorite Price is Right pricing games, the Clock Game, utilized the same basic principle as the recently premiered Bullseye 1. In that game, the contestant quickly hones in on a set price by placing bids and being told by the host higher or lower. Of course, here, instead of a finite amount of guesses, the contestant is faced against the tyranny of the clock instead, making for a much more enjoyable playing and viewing experience. So before we visit one of the worst games in Price is Right history, let's take a much more palatable look at a game that is still played and beloved today. Here are 5 fun facts about Clock Game. Number 5. The rare requirement of audience silence. Both Bullseye 1 and Clock Game gave the audience at home and in studio the ability to see the price as a means of raising the enjoyment level of the gameplay. In doing so, the game requires the usually ruckus audience to not participate and maintain an awkward silence during gameplay. The host always asks the audience to not yell out the answers, but it has been documented to have happened. Number 4. The game almost never debuted. Could you imagine The Price is Right today without Clock Game? It almost happened. The clock prop in its earliest days was very troublesome. The clock had a hard time, keeping time. 2 losing contestants were later given their prizes when the clock ticked down to 22 seconds instead of 30, and in a game where you pretty much need every possible second, that is a huge disadvantage. Number 3. The major set overhaul. In 2014, Clock Game was completely redesigned and unveiled as the original set was retired on air. The new set uses the same font and logo as the original, but features a much more modern look, a much bigger clock, and doesn't utilize a chroma key to get the desired effect of the contestant in the same screen. Do you like this modern overhaul? Let me know below. Number 2. The bonus prize. One of the big downfalls of Clock Game today is that in order to be fair and winnable, none of the prizes can exceed $999. Although the game has been played with 4-digit prizes and given a range just like in Bullseye 1, 3 digits have been the standard for most years of gameplay. Usually the bonus is an extra $1,000, but can be expanded up to $5,000 or could really be just about anything. Clock Game could even be played for a car if so desired, or even a lot more than that, which leads me to the number 1 fun fact about Clock Game. It was once played for $1 million. Clock Game was once played as part of the 19th $1 Million Spectacular. In order to win the $1 million, the contestant had to guess the prices of both prizes within 10 seconds. She did and became an instant millionaire. It was the only time the $1 million prize had been won during a regular pricing game during these special episodes. Trying to research and provide 5 unique facts about Bullseye 1, spin them into my own words, and then make an enjoyable video out of them was almost impossible. So because apparently I like a challenge, let's up the ante just a little bit more and review a pricing game that failed even harder and is widely considered to be one of the worst pricing games of all time. I hope you have nothing better to do for the next few minutes, because here at the request of absolutely nobody are 5 fun facts about Double Bullseye. Number 5. It made its debut outside of the network version. Double Bullseye made its debut on the nighttime version with Dennis James and was played twice on this version. It is one of only a few games to have this distinction, one right price and most expensive being the others. Number 4. It is the only game to feature multiple contestants row winners. Although the phone home game did feature a second contestant who played alongside the main contestant via the phone, and later versions of the show featured contestants playing in pairs with celebrities, Double Bullseye is the only game to have the 1-bid round played back-to-back. In this game, one contestant would win, and then immediately Johnny would call down another contestant and play for another prize. Both contestants would then come up on stage, eligible for the showcase at the end of the show, depending on their winnings. Number 3. Every game gave away a car. Every time Double Bullseye was played, someone was guaranteed to leave with a new car. It is the only game in the show's history where the winning percentage was 100%. There was absolutely no suspense leading up to the giveaway because each game was going to have a winner no matter what. Number 2. It used the showcase podiums. If the podiums look familiar, there's a good reason. You'll see them later in the showcase. I would assume if the game became insanely popular, it would eventually get its own set of podiums, but since the game was probably in a test run at this point, that never happened. And the number 1 fun fact about Double Bullseye, it was retired due to its unique gameplay. Double Bullseye was retired after being played only 4 times on the daytime version of the show. The idea of having competing contestants was not the style the show was going for, and thus the game was very quickly retired. Although some foreign versions use this format in their showcases, the idea of Double Bullseye and 2 contestants was a very short-lived early installment weirdness and hasn't been revisited since. 5 price tags has been a standard on The Price is Right since 1972 and doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon. Although it seems pretty simple, this game can be deceptively difficult. Let's keep the ball rolling. Here are 5 fun facts about 5 price tags. First off, an honorable mention, Manuela's mistake. I'm going to get this one out of the way early. In 2015, the contestant Andrea selected her first price, which was revealed as a no. Manuela then pulled down a second price tag immediately after, which revealed to be the winner. She looked absolutely horrified by the mistake, and the contestant was rightfully given the car. The video went viral with 15 million YouTube hits and quickly became an infamous Price is Right moment. But for now, here's the main list. Number 5. The game has a 38% win percentage. As I mentioned in the intro, 5 price tags is a deceptively difficult game. Not only do you have to choose the price to be true or false between 4 smaller prizes, but then you have to choose the right price of the car from a list of 5 similar prices. It's a tough one, but wins are quite rewarding, especially when you see the big win letters staring right at you. Which leads me to Number 4. From numbers to letters. Since the game's inception, if the contestant guessed the wrong price of the car, the word no would appear under the wrong price. For the first 16 years of the game's run, if the correct price was given, the winning number would be underneath on a red background. Kind of boring, right? Well, that changed one fateful day in 1988. Starting that season, the right price simply had the word win posted underneath instead, with a colorful sheet of paper that shouts at you as if it was saying, hey, you just won a car. Although the design has changed slightly over time, the overall idea hasn't. Number 3. It shared props with another game. If the props in the earliest playings of Most Expensive look familiar, that's because they used 3 of the 4 price tags from 5 price tags. It wasn't until the show expanded to 1 hour in 1975 that the game received its own set of props. Number 2. The set is mostly unchanged. Aside from a few color and font changes here and there to keep up with set decor and aesthetics, the game has pretty much remained unchanged since 1972. While there have been many technological advances on the show over its nearly 50-year run, keeping simple games like 5 price tags the same design-wise has been one of its charms. Nothing about the game really needs to be modernized. Well, that's not true. The cars given away should definitely stay modern. Airbags and anti-lock brakes are very good things. And the number 1 fun fact about 5 price tags, the name has never been shown on the air. Obviously, with a game as simple as showing 5 price tags, the game's title doesn't really need to be shown anywhere, but it is worth mentioning that at no point in the show's history has the game ever had its name displayed anywhere on the set. Although, to be honest, I'm not sure where you would put it, and really at this point, would it even matter? The Price is Right has done a great job of keeping the best games looking great over 50 years, even if that means keeping them as is. As Bob once said in regards to the overall look of the show, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Most Expensive is yet another quick and easy game meant for short gameplay with a wide variety of prizes. In this game, the contestant is given 3 prizes to choose from, and they must pick the most expensive. All 3 prices are revealed by each model, and if the contestant was correct, they'd win all 3. Short, simple, and to the point, here we go with 5 fun facts about Most Expensive. Number 5. Chatting with the Beauties. Commonly practiced until 1992, Bob would at times ask all 3 models to join him upstage so he could chat with them. When the show still had a longer runtime around 46 to 48 minutes, this was much more feasible. With the show now running closer to 37 or 38 minutes, it's almost impossible to have any kind of unnecessary material whatsoever. The show needed more ads to stay alive, yet the most personal aspects of the show had to be cut just to keep the show alive. The sad double-edged sword of television. Number 4. Even more expensive. Generally, Most Expensive is played for 3 mid-scale prizes, but once on the nighttime version, the game was played for a fur coat, a diamond ring, and a gold watch. Unlike standard versions of the game where the player wins all three, the contestant won the most expensive prize. It was also played on the turntable, which is always fun. Number 3. It shared its props with 5 price tags. As mentioned previously, 5 price tags and most expensive shared the same props until the 1975 hour-long expansion, when most expensive received its own props. Unlike the larger price tags, the new pedestals for the numbers generally lived behind one set of big doors, but could pretty much be used anywhere on set depending on the size of the prizes, which leads me to Number 2. 3 major set changes. The new 1975 1, 2, 3 digits were in a large bulky font on round pedestals that blended in well with the browns and oranges typical of 70s game shows. In 1984, the set was given a more modern blue lamppost-style pedestal with pink neon lights, typical of 1980s style. The most recent set change happened in 2010, with the set taking on an almost comic book-like design, with one additional feature not yet seen to this point. And what was that feature? The number 1 fun fact about most expensive: the game's title wasn't displayed until 2010. Although the game was called Most Expensive verbally in its first 28 years on the show, it was only in 2010 when the title Most Expensive itself was placed on the stage in front of the prizes to give the game its official title. With Most Expensive now finally having a visual descriptor, that leaves 5 price tags and 1 wrong price as the only 2 games that have no discernible title. Money Game is a Price is Right classic. Played often, easy to understand, and while not flashy, is still fun to watch contestants win a car, which happens quite a bit. Don't fall for El Cheapo. Here are 5 fun facts about Money Game. Number 5. The contestant doesn't walk away empty-handed. Money Game is similar to any number in that the contestant could still lose the game and still walk away with a little something. The contestant either finds the digits in the price of the car or the money in the bank. They walk away with whichever comes first. Number 4. The 5-digit expansion. When cars became more expensive in the 1980s, many games had to adapt to the new prices without creating a disadvantage for the contestants. Money Game's initial expansion to 5 digits occurred during the Tom Kennedy version in 1985, with the last digit given away and the contestant needing to find the first 4 digits in the price. Of course, we are more familiar today with the daytime versions, where the center number is given away and the contestants still have to find either the first 2 or the last 2 numbers. Like with Any Number and Lucky 7, many other games during this time adopted the free digit system to incorporate fairness. And then there's 3 Strikes. That one's coming soon. Number 3. Adam D. In 2015, guitarist Adam D of the band Killswitch Engage came on down as a non-celebrity contestant, as in he wasn't promoted as such, and was playing for himself instead of with another contestant for charity. He played Money Game for a yellow Honda Fit, which he won. After a successful showdown, he won his way into the showcase where he barely won a Nissan Frontier, a trailer, and a trip, all worth over $51,000. Number 2. It's the backup car game. One of the nice things about the simplicity of Money Game is how in the event of a meltdown, it can easily be thrown in as a substitute. Price is Right is treated live to tape to the best ability of the crew, so when a game goes down, you bring in another one and keep it moving. Nobody got time to mess around with big prizes at stake. And the number 1 fun fact about Money Game: Minnie Onzo. A contestant named Minnie Onzo appeared on the show in February 2008, where in her 80s, she won her way up on stage to play Money Game. 10 years later, in May of 2018, at the age of 94 years old, Minnie returned to the show, was called to come on down, got back up on stage, and played Money Game again. Both times going to the showcase, but unlike going over her first time around, she ended up winning a Toyota Corolla and a trip to Paris. Second chances don't come often in game shows, but Minnie proved that just about anything is possible. Give or Keep is a simple game of guessing the higher priced of 3 pairs of small prizes for the keep column and giving the less expensive prize. This is one of my least favorite pricing games, but as someone who can see the bright side in everything, I am going to proceed to come up with as much as I can for this game that at one time appeared in regular rotation. Here we go with 5 fun facts about Give or Keep. Number 5. It is the final game to premiere in 1972. As of this video, I will have reviewed every single pricing game to debut that year. Thank you for sticking along with me for my journey to review every US pricing game on The Price is Right. Number 4. The contestant wins every time. Just like with the previously premiered Money Game and several other games in the rotation thus far, every contestant who played Give or Keep would leave with something no matter the outcome. The contestant got to keep whatever they placed in the keep column no matter what, but if they kept more than they gave, they won the big prize. Not a bad deal if you need some new knickknacks for the flight home. Number 3. The game was spoiled during the one bid. One of the most interesting aspects of Give or Keep is that it was played to the left of the turntable and has to be placed on stage beforehand. Since in this position it would be seen in frame during the one bid round, the game would be revealed to not just the studio audience, but the home audience as well. This way the turntable could be used for the small prizes on display. Interesting how some games are surprises and others aren't at all. Number 2. Apparently the staff didn't like it. Give or Keep was retired in 1990 after 18 years of steady gameplay. The rumored reason is because the staff really didn't like it. Seems like just as good of a reason as any other. And the number 1 fun fact about Give or Keep, it almost came back. In 2008, with the Drew Carey era having begun, there was some talk of bringing back Give or Keep. However, with major changes in the production staff after Carey's debut, this hasn't happened yet, and Give or Keep has remained out of the rotation for at least 34 years. Join me next time as I go from one of my least favorite games to one of my all-time favorites.